My mother used to love holidays, especially Christmas and Easter, Thanksgiving. I don't think an American holiday went by either that we didn't have some sort of a barbecue where the house was semi-decorated, made sure the flag was out. She especially loved making a nice table, making sure that there was a tablecloth, the china, and the crystal as well, especially on the major religious feasts that we would celebrate. So I'm very grateful to her for that because she kind of passed that down to me, in a way that I like to continue the traditions that my mother taught me because I think I do it really in her memory. Now I know my sister-in-law one time, though, didn't get very much in my mother's good favor. It was actually before they were married, and it was Christmas time, beautiful Christmas day. We had a big 12-foot Christmas tree. The dining room table was adorned with red and green, and again, all the nice stuff that she had received many years ago for her wedding. She was in the kitchen in her heels and her silk dress, and they're cutting the turkey and whatever, and my sister-in-law looked around, they weren't married yet though, and said, all this is really very, very nice, but it's an awful lot of work, so you will never see it in my house. Needless to say, she didn't get a lot of points with my mom at that particular time, but I noticed that later on, once they were married, boy, she really would go all out, my sister-in-law, as well, to impress my mother. So much so that when they were first married, my mom went there for Thanksgiving, and my dad made a small little dining room table, but there were 10 people there for this particular Thanksgiving. And my brother was very crafty. He's an engineer, and he went out and he bought a big piece of plywood and just put it on top of the table. Needless to say, it was a little bit of an unsteady Thanksgiving dinner as they were eating. But my mother was especially appalled when the turkey came out, I think, because when the turkey came out, it had 4 legs on it. And I don't think she knew exactly what that was all about and wondered what kind of mutation this particular turkey had. My sister-in-law had gone and she bought a turkey breast, and then she bought legs as well. And so she took the legs and she stuck them into the breast to make it look like a turkey so that, it would be somewhat appetizing. I don't know if it quite had that effect or not. But I will tell you that certainly on a day like today, on Mother's Day, it's nice to remember the stories of my own mother. She's deceased at 16 years already, actually, which is very hard for me to believe. And there's days where it seems like it was just yesterday that she passed away. Perhaps you feel that same way. And not a day goes by that I don't think about her, that I don't think about the great way in which she helped to raise me. And especially today on Mother's Day, I'm very grateful to her. I hope you feel the same way if your mother is deceased, that you feel a similar way. It's a day to give thanks to God for the gift of motherhood, because really that's something all of us have in common. Each one of us came into the world through the gift of our mother, along with our Father and God as co-creators. So it's a day that we give thanks to the Lord for that gift of life. And I'm reminded today that in my mother's absence of these 16 years, that she has a whole new presence. In her absence, she has a new presence. Maybe some of the stories that we would tell or things that she particularly enjoyed. When we get together, her 3 sons, we very much remember them. Maybe we've embellished them a little bit, but she had a great personality, and that personality lives on in the memories that we tell about her. Again, in her absence, she has a whole new presence, which is very much what we celebrate today with Jesus Christ, that in his absence, that he ascended to heaven, he has a whole new presence, that in his absence, he encouraged and inspired the apostles and the disciples to go about doing his business, to go about doing the great work that he had started in his 3 years of public ministry, to proclaim the good news, to be able to celebrate and bring, especially to the poor, the gift of hope, and as well to be able to continue on a deeper relationship with God for hope to one day be in the kingdom of heaven. And that's what all of us hope for. You see, there's an incredible circle of life that we have. We start out really from God, each one of us. We hear in Jeremiah, when God spoke to Jeremiah, he said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I set you apart. I knew you and I loved you. Comes from Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. And so really, before we even come into this world, God has a plan for us. So when we leave this world, we return back to God. And each one of us has a desire to be with God again. We may not want to be with God again because we don't want to leave what we have here. But there is a desire innately to be with the Almighty. And Jesus had that desire. That was why he went back to the Father to be able to complete what had been started. He who was God returned to the Father, to God, in order that there might be hope for each one of us to be with him again in the kingdom of heaven. So that is what we celebrate today, that even in the physical absence of Christ, he has a whole new presence. And it is the gift of a real presence that over 2,000 years later, we celebrate, we remember, and we believe. And so today, as we celebrate the Ascension, it's a good day for us to think about our own one day going to God. That ability to be with the Almighty in heaven, not just for a period of time, but for all eternity. And through the gift of the sacraments and the gift of faith, through entrance into the church, that's what gives us that great hope for tomorrow. That when we leave this earth, life does not end, it goes on. I really feel sorry for people who have no belief in God, who have no hope for what happens at the end of this life. They do not realize what they are missing out on here on this earth when they lose somebody close to them or when they think about their own life. As a Christian, what a beautiful gift that Christ gave to us to realize that our life does not end here, but it continues on for all eternity in all of the heavens with God our Father.